Well, that was the best possible way I could have chosen to indoctrinate my children into Bills fandom. They are now traumatized. Yeah, 10 and 3. As you may have noticed, I'm not in my house. I am in beautiful Santa Monica, California, because my family and I came to Los Angeles to go to the Bills-Rams game. It was kind of my kid's first time going to a game. My son went to a Jets game a couple years ago, but we only stayed for a quarter because he was so miserable in the sleet. But this was my daughter's first game. Before I get started, I would like to shout out whoever the subscriber is that I ran into at SoFi Stadium. There were so many Bills fans there. It was insane. It was at least half Bills fans at that stadium. And I saw somebody wearing, I believe, a jersey with a player I liked. I'm pretty sure that's why I spoke to him. It was all kind of a blur, but he told me, I watch your YouTube channel. And I was just blown away. Like, that's crazy to me that I happened to run into, there are less than 3,000 of you in the world. And one of them was at that game and happened to run into me, which is insanity. So hi to you. If you want to comment and say hi to everybody for your encounter with fame. I'm not famous. The game itself, gee, golly willikers. Yeah, I don't really know where to start with that game. First of all, let's start with the fact, like I said, it was so many Bills fans. It was at least half Bills fans. My daughter was pretty miserable for a lot of the game, but she now wants to go to a game at Highmark Stadium because she was so underwhelmed with the Rams fans. She was like, they're not that loud. The energy is not impressive here. And I'm like, yeah, it's not like this at Bills home games. So she wants to go to a Bills home game, which is crazy because she was wearing noise-canceling headphones. Like, she didn't like the noise, but the vibes from Rams fans were not, she's like, this is pathetic. And she was right. Like, Bills fans don't sit down at games the entire time. All the Rams fans were sitting the entire game. And like, one point they were playing music and some woman was just like raising the roof, sitting down. And I'm like, what is happening at this stadium? If you listen to the game, if you watch the game, you can see it was noisy on both sides of the ball. God, that when Khalil Shakir ran for that touchdown, the place fucking exploded. And I was wearing a Khalil jersey, so I was pretty happy about that. I was not happy with the final outcome of the game. You know, along with most Bills fans, I would say at this point I'm very frustrated with the fact that Josh Allen keeps having record-breaking Superman games and somehow we don't win all of them. Like, that seems crazy. Like, he got 3 running touchdowns and 3 passing touchdowns, and we lost. My kids, though, and my nephew are now possibly the biggest Josh Allen fans in the universe. When Josh Allen does Josh Allen things, it's crazy. It's just crazy to watch. I think they were at 1st and 30, and he just blew off a crazy run out of nowhere to get us to, 2nd and manageable. It was the things he does, and my kids were just losing their minds about it. Unfortunately, that meant that my son got to see what happens when Superman loses, and he was pretty stressed out at the end of that game when it became apparent that, that we had a couple miracle comebacks in there, which kept getting their hopes back up. My nephew kept being like, wait, I thought you said we couldn't win. And I said, no, I said it was unlikely that we would win. And he's like, but now it looks like we might win. And I was like, we could win, but it's still gonna be hard. Like, I was trying to temper expectations, but I said to them the whole time, we're not out of it. And then we were out of it. Then we ran a quarterback sneak on 1st and goal with a minute and something like Sean, Joe, Josh, whoever came up with that idea, that was real dumb. And as soon as it happened, I was like, I said out loud, because my kid, the kids didn't know what was going on. And I was like, we just lost the game. We just lost the game because we needed all 3 of those timeouts. They knew we needed all 3 of those timeouts. I watched the TV version of it after I came home. Tom Brady knew we needed all 3 of those timeouts. Why were we blowing one of those timeouts? What are we doing? Because then we're stuck trying to get an onside kick, and I'm trying to explain to them what an onside kick, whole thing was ridiculous. Then we didn't even, we just gave up. We had 9 men on the field for the punt return. Sure, there was basically no chance, but still put people on the field. And that blocked punt, my God, Reed Ferguson just got run over. The fact that we got our energy back up after that blocked punt was impressive because that felt like a real dagger. That's when my kids really checked out of the game, and then they checked back in. once things got high scoring and fast running. And speaking of the run, James Cook was nowhere to be found. Josh was our only runner. Ty Johnson had one good run, but that might have been like a screen pass that turned into a touchdown. I don't know. Ty Johnson is underrated. But the real problem, certainly coaching was an issue, but the defense was booty cheeks. Like, I've never seen our defense fail on every level before. We weren't getting any pressure to the quarterback. Stafford had all day to just sit there and throw perfect passes. He was throwing perfect passes to two all-star receivers that we couldn't keep defensive backs on. Rasul Douglas, before he got hurt by his own teammates, I was actually glad to see him get off the field because he was playing so badly. So badly. Penalties. Just getting run over. They were playing soft zone against Puka Nacua for no apparent... Like, I'm not a coach. I should not be the one to say they're doing things right or wrong. But they were doing things wrong. Christian Benford was basically the only person on that team that played well. Rasul Douglas played so badly that I think we lost track of how badly Taron Johnson was playing, because he was playing like booty cheeks too. Defensive line, nothing. Safeties were the only ones doing anything, and they got pushed around too, but everything fell to them because the linebackers were invisible. Milano had a couple good plays, but he shouldn't be in every snap yet. Let's get Dorian back out there so I can yell, ooh, boo, Dorian. At least I can see, because sometimes I say, yay, Dorian. At least he's interesting. You never know what's going to happen with Dorian Williams. Penalties were an issue too. Bills got a couple really lucky calls, especially at the very end. There was a lot of pass interference calls on both teams that seemed real ticky-tacky, and we benefited from some of them, but I was just also like, stay out of it. There's no need for a lot of that, because it made things more interesting to call pass interference in the end zone, but it wasn't really that pass interference-y. And then there was another one that was offsetting penalties that killed a 40-yard catch by, I think, Puka? One of the Rams. Brought that back. I was excited about it at the time. It's kind of a bummer when you rewatch the game, like, to erase an explosive play like that sucks. You know, the Bills got a couple of calls that went their way, but at the same time, they were missing a lot of calls, and they were missing a lot of calls that would have gone against the Rams. So just in general, refs, again, garbage. It was an amazing game to watch. It was an exciting game to watch. I'm glad it was the game my kids got to see, even though they're traumatized for life now. And good on Bills Mafia for showing up. When we were driving on the 405, we were behind a minivan with New York plates, with a West Her frame around the license plate and covered in snow stains. And I'm like, they drove all the way here? I flew. I'm not taking that drive. It was fun. It was fun. I've never been to an away game before. I'm not impressed by the Rams fans. So unfortunately, because we were driving back from Inglewood, we did not get to see the whole Chiefs game. I did get to see the end of the Chiefs game, though. You know, look, it was one of those things where as soon as Travis Kelce caught that just running to get open, not even on a real route, just get where Pat can see me right to, 1 yard beyond the first down line, it was a classic Kelce move. It was a perfect throw. It was the 2-minute warning, and that was the game. So the doink at the end just made it hilarious. How many, it's just all these one-score games, and then all these fluky things, like the doink goes in, and the kick gets blocked, and the snap gets dropped. Like, what are you guys doing? How is this still happening? I'm not saying you're a bad team. I'm saying you're still having some issues at left tackle. That might screw you over in the long run. But, oh boy, you have harder games left on your schedule than we do. We have the Lions next week, which is a problem if we're going to play the way we played this week on defense. But we then have Patriots, Jets, Patriots. You guys have, I think, Bengals, Steelers, maybe the Browns, and Broncos, I think. You could lose one in there. You could lose two. We'll probably lose one. Let's be honest. Or our defense will magically figure out what the fuck they did wrong this week and pull it together for next week. Or else Dan Campbell's gonna I can't even use the words to describe what Dan Campbell is going to do to our defense if we play the way that we played against the Rams. But the Rams are a good team. Their record doesn't necessarily show it because they were banged up early in the season, but I went into this season thinking this was going to be a tough game. So I'm not surprised it went the way that it did. I'm surprised it was quite so high scoring. People need to talk more about Matthew Stafford still playing at such a high level. He's a great quarterback, and he showed it this week. So kudos to the Rams. Boo to the Rams fans who were really lame, and yay to Bills Mafia for showing up. And Chiefs fans, enjoy your deal with the devil. And on that note, go Bills.